Welcome back to our channel. Today it's just me. Josh is not here. This video is very, I wouldn't say private or personal, but because of the topic, did not want him to be present. That way I can be brutally honest with you guys, be very transparent. Today's topic is do I regret marrying a Nigerian? Do I regret marrying a Nigerian? Let me give you guys a little background first. We've been married for 8 years. Josh is a Gemini. I am a Pisces. For our viewers who, like to delve into that kind of information, I know from what it says we're not compatible. However, but I'm not a huge believer in the zodiac signs. I like to look at them here and there, but if it's fate and it's meant for you to be with someone, regardless of their zodiac sign, it can work. It just depends on the energy and the time that you and that person put forth to make the relationship work. One thing we did do though, we looked at this book just for entertainment purposes, and I'm not sponsored by, I'm not sponsored by the author of the book at all, but I just wanted to share this with you guys that we did use a book called Love Cards, and it was a book that I had prior to meeting Josh, and I always just found it very fun and kind of flirty in a way, because the book tells you about your karmic debts, and how you and that person relate to each other. And it also talks about compatibilities and in which ways you're compatible. So the book was very intriguing and interesting because it gave you more details about the compatibility of you and that person. I know one thing that it did say is that me and Josh are both very talkative, and so if we don't use our energy out being active, doing things that will keep us active together, it can make the relationship simmer down or kind of fade away. So we try to make sure that we keep each other engaged in that way. But anyway, let me get back to the topic. Again, the book was called Love Cards. It's by Robert Lee Camp. I don't know if that author is still printing this book, but that is the name of the book. Again, this video is not sponsored by anyone. So, do I regret marrying a Nigerian? It's, I would say that Josh and I have learned to work together. I don't think that it matters where the person is from, as long as you're willing to put in the time to make the relationship work, it can work. Initially, like at the beginning, of course, it was really rocky. We did not, he wasn't living here when we met. He was living in Nigeria when we met, which tells you that we met online. And so when he did finally come over and we lived together and began to get to know each other, we married 90 days after that. But we were actually long term for 2 years. Could you imagine a long-term relationship for 2 years? In between those 2 years, I want to say I visited Nigeria maybe 4 times. So that was how we started. That was the effort that I put forth, since how much effort he could put in on his side was very limited. He wasn't able to just up and travel here because of travel restrictions and things like that, and visas and all that. I did have to get a visa to go to Nigeria. Back then, the way that they would get you the visa is you would mail your passport to the embassy here in America. I believe mine went to the embassy in Atlanta. Once they got my passport, They stamped it with the visa and mailed it back to me. They gave me a 10-year, no, let me take that back. I think it was a 5-year visa that they gave me. But you guys know that USA passports are for 10 years. So on that 5-year visa, I went to Nigeria a total of 4 times. One of the reasons that I went to Nigeria 4 times is I know how him and I felt about each other, but I wanted to make sure that his family was on the same page. Simply because I know when you're dating a Nigerian and usually any African, their family is an essential role in their life, and they are important in making decisions, for their family members. And so I wanted to make sure that his family accepted me, that his mother and I were on the same page, that she accepted me, which she did. She's a very loving person. I absolutely love my mother-in-law. She is just the sweetest mother that anyone can ask for. She's sweet, she's fun, she's easygoing, and that made it very easy for me and her to get along. But initially, us getting to know each other, I wanted to make sure that I was making the right decision, that his family was accepting of me. That way we wouldn't run into having a lot of issues down the line. His dad was also very accepting. His family members, all the ones that I met, they absolutely loved me. And I think a lot of things have to do with how open you are. How open you are allows people to get to know you. It allows people to get a feel for your personality. So even though I was just visiting for a short period of time, I want to say my first time I went, I stayed 30 days. The second time I went, I stayed a week. I went for my birthday. I went for a week. The third time I went for another 2 weeks. And then my third time I went for a month. And my final and fourth time I went for maybe about 2 weeks. So I know, for most people, that's not a whole lot of time to, really get to know the family. However, me and Josh was on the phone every day. Excuse me. We were on the phone every day, all day. From my lunch break, from his lunch break, after getting off work. And then that Nigeria and America is on either a 6-hour time difference, or it could be a 7-hour time difference, depending upon if we're in daylight savings or not. So that was a struggle, because a lot of times when I was getting off work, it was already really late at night for him, early morning, where he should have been asleep. And there was a lot of falling asleep on the phone. Just him and I being, really tired after work. And when I get home from work, he fell asleep. When I'm getting ready to go to bed, he's getting up. And so I'm falling asleep now on him. It is a lot of work. But anything that's worth having is worth fighting for. And once I had got done with the running back and forth or trying to escape the relationship because of all of the uncertainties that I was feeling in my heart, I would tell him to, pray, do a lot of praying. Again, I'm not a real religious person. I don't go to church every Sunday. I'm not that person. But I do believe in a higher power. So I was asking him to pray, do a lot of praying. So he spent a lot of time on his side doing a lot of prayers. I thank God that his father was very spiritual, who also helped us in our journey. His mom, also very spiritual. She also helped us in our journey by prayers. So it was a lot of prayer and just a lot of effort from both families, put into trying to make this work. It was a very tedious, initially, very tedious, very tiring. Financial responsibilities on our both of our parts. We finally decided to do a K1 visa, which is a fiance visa, which you don't go to his country and marry and then file for him. You actually bring him over to your country on a K1 visa. You guys live together for 90 days. And in within those 90 days, if you guys feel like you can make it, work it out, and continue to stay together, then you guys get married. Once you get married in your country, then that's when, the other processes can happen. So that's what we did. That's what I felt was better for me. Again, I kind of wanted to take baby steps. I didn't want to jump into something, too fast. I wanted to take baby steps and actually give us an opportunity to see if we could live with one another. Speaking of marriage, it's a huge deal. One part that I did like about him being in Nigeria and me being in America, our relationship had to have a solid foundation, and there had to be a lot of communication to keep us interested in one another. Most times in relationships, the thing that keeps you bonded is intimacy. And by intimacy, I'm speaking of, So, because we're so far distance, we didn't have that opportunity to be intimate with each other regularly. We solely had to rely on our communication. And I think that is what gives us the blossoming and happy relationship marriage that we have today. There was so much work that we had to do at the beginning. Now that we're actually living together, it seems a lot easier. Of course, there are ups and downs. There's times where, you and that person may not see eye to eye, but you can work through anything that you have the desire to work through. A lot of it is perception, how you perceive things, like Josh was saying in a previous video, being able to apologize to your mate even when you're not wrong. Sometimes apology is needed, and then you guys can go back later and attempt to correct the situation once the heat and the heat and the intensity has calmed down. Then you guys can go back and try to work things through. So overall, I would say no, I don't regret marrying a Nigerian. Everything that happens in life has its purpose. The way we met, we'll talk to you guys about that in a whole nother video, but how we met, the channels and stages that we had to go through to get to where we are today, was what was needed for our journey. Of course, your journey will not be the same, but the avenue in which you decide to get him here can be. I want to do a video about K1 visas later on, because I was the one who submitted all the paperwork for the K1 visa. No lawyer or anything needed. Because of the so many times that I had, the multiple times that I had to submit it and it was being sent back to me with errors and things of that nature, after I finally got it right, I feel like I now have the information to help the next person that want to follow that route to get their mate here, be it woman or man. It's still the same process. So I think we will do a video on K1 visas. And in that video, I will share information on how to do the paperwork, what needs to be included, and all of that. The reason why I want to do that video is because I feel like it may help someone who may feel like they're really interested in a person that they're moving forward with, but they don't want to marry that person in their country, and then that person getting papers and then coming over to be with them. Maybe that's not the route that someone wants to take. And if it is, that's okay too. But for those that may be interested in a K1 visa process, I am sure I can give you some helpful hints and tips that will help get your mates over pressure free, and answer questions, in the long run about, the process is step by step, how things happen. Again, I truly appreciate you taking time to listen to this video. The topic was, do I regret marrying a Nigerian? And I did answer that in this video for you. I have no regrets. It is probably one of the best decisions that I made in my life. I'm very, very happy with my husband. I can't imagine life without him. We complement each other very well. And that is what marriage is about. It's about helping each other evolve to be the best person that they can be and that you can be. And I must say that I am a better person today because of the time, the work, the effort, the dedication, the love, the loyalty that my husband has poured into me. Again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. More videos to come. Thank you.